Smug author reviews own book, X, by me, Lee Bullen. Chapter 8, Rock and Rot. If you've missed any previous episodes, do not worry. Just go back in your own time. There's a lot of nasty things going around at the world at the moment. Stay on YouTube, subscribe, like my videos, and pass the time away with an exceptionally good writer. Chapter 8, Rock and Rot. Nick arrived at the restaurant table, sporting a jaunty expression and overheaped plate of oddly matched breakfast types. Gotta love a good buffet, he said, as he sat opposite Konrad, wearing dark sunglasses and pushing a few pieces of fruit around his plate. What's up with you? I thought you went out with a girl last night. I did. So what happened? She discovered you're a one-armed cretin and went home? He teased. Konrad signalled to a passing waitress who rushed over with a steaming coffee pot. Black, he croaked at her. So, Nick pressed as the waitress left to serve the next delicate man wearing sunglasses at a nearby table. Not sure. Why? She ugly? No. So what's the problem? Did you get to... Oh, for God's sake, Nick. What? It's nothing to do with her appearance. She's one of the most beautiful women I've ever seen. It's more... yeah? Everything else, he said, wearing a disappointed expression. I suppose it's everything she says, her general attitude, her every thought and opinion. She's just the most appalling person. Oh, Nick offered as a consolation. Problem is she's so damn attractive. I've been up all night trying to rationalise my feelings. I don't know what to do. Are you sure it's not just you being you? Nick, she insulted a disabled boy near our table and continually made offensive remarks about anyone fatter or darker than she is. I see. Well, to you she must seem like the devil. Exactly. That is my dilemma. She's one sexy Satan. Okay, gather round everyone, Lucy said to a group of musicians and crew members assembled on a grass pitch inside the stadium of Playa de las Americas. Sound check is about to start, so I won't keep you long. There's been a small lineup change, so I have confirmation of your performance times here. As before, Loaded will come on at 5 PM, but following them is a recently added Jamaican band, which means Sacred Simplicity do their set at 7 instead of 6. Okay, guys? Suppose so, said the singer in a gruff northern accent. It's a much better slot. The stadium should be more or less full by then, so be sure to give it your call list. She enthused. The frontman scoffed and whispered something derogatory to the drummer. Loaded's band manager stepped forward with his arm wrapped around the guitarist's shoulders. If we give it our call list, can we get a better slot? He said sarcastically. Lucy ruffled as the group laughed. This is the organiser's confirmed lineup. Any further questions? What time's the Bubblegum Queen on? Asked the manager. The headline act will be performing around midnight. And she's obviously too important to sound check with everyone else, sneered Loaded's guitarist. She doesn't need to. She'll be miming to a backing track, joked the manager. Do the sound guys know to turn off the mics? Yelled a hairy man at the back, unknown to everyone else, presumably tagging along out of confused curiosity. The group collectively turned and acknowledged him with a polite nod. Seeing as this place will be rammed later, and that the event's getting tremendous exposure as a direct result of Corsica Coleman's attachment, I'd quit complaining if I were you, Lucy said angrily. Now, make sure you're all here at least 1 hour before you go on stage. Her phone beeped with a message from Nick as the group splintered into their preferred cliques. And don't get wrecked from now until then, she shouted as she opened the message. What time and where are we meeting later? Lucy smiled to herself. She had already picked out the perfect meeting point when she arrived. She typed back, meet at the enormous lookalike, 4 PM. Lucy's message was made evidently clear when a gleaming taxi pulled up outside the small stadium's entrance, dominated by a white statue of the eponym Antonio Dominguez Alfonso, a smart, bespectacled man with a pristine side parting. Nick grinned and paid the fare as Konrad got out looking concerned. Lucy's meeting us over by the statue, Nick said, and stop looking so worried. Little Miss Lucifer's not getting here till later. I know, but I've never been so conflicted. I'm dreading seeing her, Konrad said, as he dabbed his already perspiring forehead. The afternoon sun beat down mercilessly, ensuring perfect conditions for revellers who like hot, sweaty festivals crammed to the rafters. The pair carefully crossed the road, trying to avoid reckless taxis and local drivers hurtling along the opposite side to their familiar streets in Camden, and saw Lucy emerge from inside the stadium. There you are, she said, elated to see them both. Nick quickened his step and planted a couple of impassioned kisses on her cheeks, inheriting one of the Spanish customs he'd observed and incorporated into his armoury of charm. Gosh, how European, she said, blushing. He placed his hands on her shoulders. Great to see you. Great to see you too. Like the meeting point? Perfect, he said, with a Hollywood smile and eye twinkle usually found in airbrushed lifestyle magazines. The pair remained locked as Konrad grew anxious and interrupted. Hello, Lucy. Nice to see you too. Hi, Konrad. Nice flight in, she offered embarrassedly. Not really. Many people here yet? Just 100 or so. The first band has only just started, she said, as a hollow mumble of acoustic rock echoed around the stadium's interior walls. One of the groups I represent is on next. So let's go in and get started, Nick said, and led the way to the entrance. Hang on! Backstage passes, she searched through her bag and placed the lanyards around their necks. Now we can get the party started, she said. You got another one of those? Konrad asked timidly. Who for? He's got a girlfriend, Nick teased, pulling at Konrad's cheeks like an excitable grandmother. A girlfriend? Lucy asked. Watching Loaded perform their lively finale from the side of the stage, Nick and Lucy were enjoying the VIP privileges. Evidently taking their toll as they merrily tucked their beers and put their arms around each other's shoulders. Misty-eyed, they gazed from behind the curtain at the energetic band members and crowd's front rows. As the closing snare roll faded away in the wind and a half-full stadium erupted with cheer, the band took a moment to absorb the appreciation of a highly charged performance before leaving the stage. Excellent, excellent, beamed their manager as the group ran past to where cold beers and young girls were waiting. Great gig, boys, great gig, he encouraged as they ignored him and keenly wrapped their lips around a cold can or hot female. Where did Konrad go? Lucy asked Nick, who was distracted by an attractive brunette cavorting with the band's lead singer. Out by the statue to meet that girl, he replied, reluctant to meet her eyes. So what's that all about? Dunno, he met her last night. How? Dunno. What's she like? Dunno, he replied. Lucy promptly felt there was no more to offer the conversation and fell silent. Nick had already passed that stage and was ogling the dark-haired groupie again. Although, he interjected, after a while, I think we're about to find out. He pointed to the far end of the VIP area where Konrad and his companion were making their way up the staircase. As they approached, Nick and Lucy sized up the attractive girl. Lucy was pleasantly surprised, but Nick was gobsmacked. He instantly noticed the incredible similarity to Penny. Konrad grew anxious and looked at his shoes while the girl grabbed a complimentary drink and started to down it in one. Hi, this is Anna, he said nervously, while she glugged the beer and crumpled the plastic cup in her fist. She rinsed her dripping chin with the back of her hand, tossed the cup on the floor, and extended a dripping palm to Lucy. Hi, she said numbly. Lucy realised no social norms existed where she could refuse the wet handshake on offer. This was a rock festival. Sticky fingers and dubious characters were the norm. I'm Lucy, she said through a grimace as the lager seeped through her fingers. Anna turned to Nick, blatantly sizing him up. And who are you? I'm Nick. Nice to meet you, Penny. Sorry, Anna, he said, casting his friend a dirty look. Konrad knew that Nick had made the connection. His downward gaze bore through his shoes into the ground, finally resting between a rock and a hard place. You look familiar, Nick continued, more than happy to expose the elephant in the room. Didn't you once leave Konrad for a yoga instructor? Nick, Konrad interrupted with a tender tone. Please don't. Oh, I think I just might, he said, clearly relishing his moment atop the moral high ground. What's going on, Lucy asked. Tell you later. He turned to Konrad and held his gaze. You bloody hypocrite, he pronounced slowly. Anna turned away, bored of the bickering. My God, what is this jungle rubbish? She gestured to the Jamaican reggae act. Where's the white rock music? Excuse me? Lucy said, surprised. Nothing, Konrad interrupted, turning Anna by her shoulders. I think I'm just going to show her around a bit. We'll catch up later. Lucy watched him manhandle Anna through the backstage area, stopping as she glugged another free beer from the table. What the hell was that about? Lucy said. Anna doesn't possess a very liberal mind, shall we say. So what's Konrad doing with her? I thought he could never be with someone like that. Apparently he can if they look exactly like his ex, Nick said. Lucy gasped. No, Anna's a Penny lookalike, Nick answered with an emphatic nod. No way. I know. Wait till I see him next, she said, shaking her head and enjoying a long swig of beer. Hey, how much longer are you around for? Sacred Simplicity are on next, so I have to stay for that, but once they're finished, I'm pretty much free. Why's that, she said. I doubt I'm going to hang around to the end. I'm a bit tired and nervous about seeing my dad tomorrow. I fancy getting back soon. Sure, want some company, she said nervously. Nick pondered a moment. Seeing as Konrad's out of action, yeah, that'd be nice. So I'm just a suitable fill-in, am I? Oh, I didn't mean that. Can you hang on till 9? So you're coming back with me? Nick, it's your birthday at midnight. I want to be with you. Don't you have a glitzy party to go to after, he said, eyeing her from behind the rim of his cup. This isn't the Oscars, Nick, she joked, reaching for his hand. There'll be drinks and stuff happening at the hotel, which we're all welcome to, but if you prefer to do something quieter, let's do that. Okay, so where do you want to go later? Oh, Medano, por favor, Nick shouted to the taxi driver as they sped from the stadium into the bright summer sunset shrouding the townscape of Playa de las Americas. They looked at each other in the back of the cab, their faces painted with the sky's vivid golden glow. In that moment, they were utterly beautiful to one another. Konrad waved farewell to them from the pavement, as Anna yapped incessantly in his ear. When the taxi faded from view, he met her eyes with a dark glance. Look! Will you please just shut up? No, I will not score you some cocaine, he growled through his teeth, eyeing the security guards to make sure they were out of earshot. Come on, Mr. Boring, this is the festival, let's get wild, she said, grabbing her boobs and poking her tongue out. Konrad was both repulsed and aroused. He'd never seen Penny behave so promiscuously, and it felt momentarily liberating. But then he remembered that he thoroughly disliked everything else about the Penny alike in front of him, and his internal water sprinklers doused the fire. Look, I don't do it, and I wouldn't know where to get some anyway, so stop going on about it, he said, as she finally ceased rubbing herself. He looked along the stadium exterior, and noticed a commotion happening around a limo trying to get past a small group of photographers and busybodies, blocking a side entrance. I think Corsica Coleman's just arrived, he offered as a conversation switcher. There's quite a fuss going on down there. I don't care about her. I'm here for the real band, she said, waving her arms in the air and strumming an air guitar. She grabbed his face in her hands and lowered it to eye level. Konrad, go ask those security guards where we can get some coke. His eyes rolled to the back of his head. Oh, fine, I'll ask them. And she trotted off to the nearest guard and bluntly asked the man. He wasn't taken aback. He simply cast a look over both shoulders and pointed in a vague direction before saying a few words and turning away. Anna smiled and skipped back to Konrad. He says we can go to the main strip, but it'll be poor quality and expensive. Our best option is to go to a dealer just behind that hotel. Why do you keep saying we? It's someone the guard knows who's rented a room for the night to cash in. Clever move. He's probably going to get a cut for sending people their way. They'll make a fortune tonight. Yes, brilliant business ethics, he replied dryly. Look, for the last time, I'm not getting you drugs. Why not, she screeched. Konrad's shoulders slumped to his waistline. Mr. Boring feeling grumpy. Mr. Boring need a boost, she said in a tone that clamped Konrad's gut to the inside of his testicles. He was so drained of strength that he looked to the heavens and begged for help, something he hadn't done since Penny left him. In the night air, illuminated by floodlights and stage effects, Konrad and Anna stood at the back of the bustling crowd, vibrating to the metal band performing on stage. Every so often, Anna would shout something in Konrad's ear, but his expression remained stony, with eyes fixed on the group. Eventually he snapped, and somehow, despite the loud music filling the arena, a large section of the crowd clearly heard Konrad scream, "All right, I'll bloody go!" What do you want to do then? Lucy said, trying Nick's bed for bounce factor, but finding impact dull and sudden, rather than springy. Nick flopped on Konrad's bed with more grace, gliding onto the surface instead of blindly free-falling. He kicked off his shoes. "Dunno, stay here, get pizza." "Nick, it's your birthday." "Yeah," he answered brashly, "and that's what I want to do." Lucy crossed her arms as Nick turned on the TV. A vaguely familiar romantic comedy was showing, and they soon found themselves arguing about how it ends when Lucy refused to be sucked in any further. "No, we're not doing this." She grabbed the remote control from Nick's hand and tossed it on the bed. It smashed on impact. "It's only 9:30 p.m. and we're going out for a drink." She bent down to gather his shoes, quickly wishing she hadn't, as the stench of Nick's trainers caught her unaware. She tossed the offending footwear at their host, Get those on, we're going out for a cocktail. What the hell am I doing? Konrad moaned to himself as he crossed a deserted street a few blocks from the stadium. I've never scored drugs before, I don't know what to do. He reached a dark corner at the far end and arrived outside a run-down apartment block. You go in, it may be dangerous, he mimicked. My word, that woman is vile. Konrad straightened outside the ominous-looking building, the last in a line of pristine apartment fronts and modern offices. In contrast, the dirty stonework and dark, lifeless interior sent a shudder down his spine. The only sign of activity came from the well-lit upper floor. Everything else seemed dead. There was a dark stench in the air. It could have been rotting bodies and toxic rising damp emanating from the building's bowels, but it was more likely to be the bins piled outside the front entrance. Even a street lamp was blinking, adding further eeriness to a nervy undertaking he wished he hadn't agreed to. Konrad acknowledged the cliched scene with a sigh. He wouldn't have been surprised if a thunderclap had suddenly split the night sky and hard rain began to fall. He cowered when he thought he heard a wolf cry beyond the moonlight, then he realised it was just a dog freaked out by concert noise. Relax, he told himself, breathing in deep. Get this done and buy the drugs. At least you'll be quiet for a bit. He rolled his head to relax his shoulders, emitting a neck crack so loud it stopped the dog barking. A spark of confidence shot up his spine. Then kiss her so she doesn't say another word till morning. He straightened his sweat-soaked clothing with steely determination. I want to know what this lookalike fix feels like. And join me next time for Chapter 9. Cocktails and trees. Believe me. Chapter 9. When Konrad meets Corsica Coleman, the celebrity, in a broken down lift. Fantastic chapters ever written in literary history. Join me for that, won't you? Like, subscribe. Smug author reviews own book, Double X. Available at Amazon.